and this is a continuation of our program that is Accelerate, which is a three-part marketing masterclass. And today's session is being led by Tobi Banjoko. So yeah, a little bit about Tobi. Yeah, Toby is a growth marketing manager at Screen Cloud. But Toby, I'm sorry, I think I should do this first before I talk about you. Um, Let me talk a little bit about us. I'm sorry, I'm taking the selfish path here. Okay, so yeah, for everyone, RevStar is a community for revenue leaders. And when I say revenue leaders, I mean people who are trying and who are already crushing it in their various spaces in revenue. So whether you're in customer success, whether you're in customer service, whether you're doing sales or revenue operations, or doing an aspect of marketing or leading a marketing team. This is a thriving community where like-minded people come together, share ideas, learn from each other, and grow in their careers. And to be part of our thriving community, you can follow us on our various social media handles. We're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, and we're on Twitter, or X, formerly Twitter. And of course, you can sign up to join the community. I put up a link on the chat session. So just click on the link to join our thriving community. And then over there, you fill the form and shortly you'll be onboarded by the community manager. So yeah, today, Toby so that's a brief introduction about RevStar. So yeah, Tobi Banjoko is a growth marketing manager at Screen Cloud. And today he's going to be taking us on an interesting session, or we'll be having a conversation rather, on B2B Marketing Fundamentals. So it's going to be an interactive section where we'll be asking a couple of questions around B2B marketing and the core principles of B2B marketing and how you can apply them for maximum impact in your organization. Perhaps you're an aspiring business owner, perhaps you're aspiring to work in the marketing team in your organization, or maybe you are a salesperson in your organization, but you really want to know what goes into marketing and how B2B marketing works. Well, this session is actually for you. So yeah, so that's much about it. So Toby, I'd like to kick off by asking this question, when it comes to understanding B2B marketing dynamics. In your experience, what are the key differences between marketing to a business versus marketing to consumers? We often know about B2C. We hear about B2C all the time. But really, what is B2B marketing? What is it all about? And why should we learn about it? Why should we know about this?
Thank you, Uche. And an interesting way to dive right into it.
Yeah.
So, as the name implies, B2B marketing is a business marketing to another business, as opposed to a business marketing to a customer. And there are a lot of examples. So, with Jumia or Konga, they're mostly B2C companies because they're selling to the end user. While with businesses like, let me see, Bento or Flutterwave or businesses that sell, InterSwitch, they have a B2B and B2C side. So those kind of businesses are basically businesses. The difference is who you're trying to reach, how you market, who your target audience is, how the customer makes a buying decision. For example, if I want to buy something on Jumia, if I see an ad for a t-shirt or a footwear, I can click that ad, go to Jumia, if the pricing is good and I can afford it, I buy. But if I was trying to onboard a new HR platform or a new payment gateway for my business, there are many people involved. So myself, maybe I'm the HR manager, the person in IT who is going to do the integration, the finance people, the directors, whoever would need to be involved in that decision. So there's going to be a lot of stakeholders deciding or evaluating the product before it's then onboarded. So there's a longer process. Also, the buying cycle. If I see an ad on Jumia, I can buy it right now. They deliver it to me whenever they deliver. But with B2B, it takes longer. So there needs to be like, they need to see the ad, test it out, have like compliance, documentation, security, different processes before it becomes onboarded into the new business. So it's longer. So it can take 6 months, a year, 2 years for that to close. There's also the element of business relationship between the businesses, the people that are involved. So there are different variations of what happens in B2B versus B2C, but it's a more complex process and a lot of stakeholders are involved. Summary.
That's interesting. So could you share like an example of how from what you just shared, an example of how this. Okay, I like to ask this for how does this affect the overall marketing approach of any organization to start with?
So if you're selling to the B2B, one of the most important things you need to figure out is your ICP. ICP is your ideal customer profile. So if you're selling to a business, depending on your product, you need to know who the user is, who the evaluator of that product is, who makes the decision, who are the people that you need to sort of influence to get, who will endorse it to get that buying approval. You need to be fully aware of who it is. So I'll look for an example. If my company is Canva, so I work at Canva, and I'm trying to sell Canva as a product to another business. Usually, the person that will use Canva in another company will be the graphics designer or the marketing executive or the marketing assistant, somebody early on in that marketing team, or just a graphic designer. But the person that will probably evaluate it, depending on the size of the business, is maybe the IT manager, because any software or tool that's coming on the platform, they need to evaluate it to be sure that the data processing is being compliant, it's fitting within their own current systems, there's no duplicate elsewhere. Just somebody needs to look at bringing on a new software and the cost of it. Also, the marketing manager of that business might also be involved, because it's a marketing tool. He oversees whoever is going to be using it. So there are a lot of people that will be involved. So if I'm marketing, I need to have messaging for the different stakeholders. So for the user, it will be get your work done faster, save time, save costs, all the templates you need, all of that kind of thing. While for the IT manager, it'll be a different messaging that suits their own role and how the influence they have on that product. For the finance people, it'll be save costs. So rather than hiring another designer, this product saves you costs. You can save so amount in a year. So your messaging will be different based on who you're selling to. And that's how I would, a business should consider B2B marketing. Depending on who you're selling to, your messaging will vary. Even the platform that you're using to market will differ. So you would be more aware of the platform where your customers and the influencers are, and then market on there with the right messaging. So yeah.
Oh, great. So this leads me to another question, and that would be, how for companies, who are like B2B companies, how does a business choose between, a sales-led or a product-led approach in as they try to, capture essentially what you can term as, the ideal customers, or try to capture a segment of the market that they're trying to own?
Okay. So this is more of like a product or business decision than a marketing one. So product led versus sales led. It depends on what you're trying to sell. It depends on the resources that you have. It depends on who you're selling to. For some businesses, they can easily sell without having human interaction. And another example is Canva again. A lot of people that have used Canva on here didn't need to speak to a salesperson to get access to the tool or start to use the tool. But if you're using a product like, let me see, a more complex product, maybe like HubSpot at an advanced level, or an HR product, you need to speak to somebody to customize that product for your own use case. So that decision is more of a business decision than a marketing decision. But in many cases, I found out that most businesses do hybrid where they have a product-led version, they have a sales cycle as well, where they then use sales for like larger accounts, enterprise type businesses. But that's a business decision.
Okay. All right. So at this point, I would like to know if there are anyone in the room, if there's anyone in the room who have worked in both B2B and B2C, and what major difference they must have experienced in their own sales cycle. Just asking the audience. Anyone? You can just put a comment in the comment section. Okay, we can move on while at that. So I know that for me, I know that one of the challenges in B2B marketing is identifying the right decision makers, because even if you're trying to do B2B marketing, I know that at the end of the day, it all boils down to who you're targeting, like you had earlier mentioned, and those are really the decision makers. So really, how do you now go about understanding who holds the buying power in a large organization, especially those with very complex hierarchies? Take, for instance, if you're dealing with a big, let's say you're dealing with a bank, for instance, how do you identify people you're supposed to work with, in the decision process if you're trying to do B2B marketing for their clients, or perhaps you're trying to target a major financial institution? How do you go about it?
So this is like deliberate work that needs to be done. And it goes into a new not new, but a certain type of B2B marketing that businesses do nowadays called ABM, account-based marketing. So for example, a big bank or a large enterprise, there are multiple people that are involved, like you've mentioned. What typically
Mhm.
happens is there's a collaboration between marketing and sales to identify all of the people that are involved in this buying cycle or the buying process in the company. And then that information is used to target them with the right messaging, in the right content, with the right ads in the right places. But typically, if you know your product, you know the user, you can tell who the likely stakeholders will be. I'll look for an example. If I was selling, let me see what product I can use as an example. Again, HR software.
All
Most
right.
likely, the user will be the HR person, but they might not be the decision maker, or they might be. There might be other people involved because it's software. The IT person, maybe even the CTO might be involved because there's an integration element that's going to happen. Um, there's the finance people because they make payments. They will be making payment for the software itself, salaries that will pass through the HR platform. All of that needs to go through them as well. So they need to be aware or carried along somehow. There's also the maybe C-level or senior management team that needs to be aware of a new product that's going to change how work is being done in that company. So that's just like common sense analysis of my product and who can be involved in the buying process. So for every product, you would typically know who your ideal customer is, the profile of the person, and the likely people that will be involved, depending on how complex it is. For simple products, you might not need, for example, if I'm using Canva, I may not need the CTO or IT manager because it's mostly self-serve. You can go in there, create your platform. Like you don't need to integrate anything on the regular plan or the general product. So when you know your product, you can know who is likely to be involved in the process, depending on the size of the company you're also trying to reach out to. For a smaller team, it's probably just maybe the founder, one other person, and the user. For a bigger team, it might be a team of people that will form maybe the whole IT team or the whole finance team, maybe not just one person. But when you know your product, you know who you're selling to, you can tell who the other stakeholders can be.
All right. Okay. And you talked about knowing your products, knowing the products, and knowing the stakeholders that are involved, especially if you're doing B2B marketing. Okay. So yeah, that drives me to the next aspect that I would love that you dive deep into, and that is at the end of the day, if you're going to do all of this, identifying the decision makers, the whole idea is really because you are trying to drive revenue, right? And for you to drive revenue, it means that your marketing strategy has to be focused on that part. Now, for most B2B marketing funnel, they follow a certain kind of structure. And, that structure is for them to get the leads, and then do perhaps some, will I call it magic that can actually drive conversions. Can you connect this to how, let's say a team, trying to really push their B2B marketing efforts into, identifying key stakeholders in the decision making process, you know.
All right. Good one. So with B2B marketing, the most common goal at the very early stages is to generate leads.
Mhm.
You can get leads from different sources. It can be from your white papers, your blogs, your ebooks, your webinars. You get leads. And then you want to move those leads through your funnel. That can be them taking trials or booking demos. From there on, you can then move them to conversions. Um, so the way that you would, I mean, sorry, can you say that your question again? I lost my train of thoughts. Let
Okay,
me.
so you talked about really the most important thing is identifying key stakeholders, right? For your marketing, and that is really understanding the business structure of the organizations, and the complex reporting lines if you are going to actually pursue whatever marketing strategy B2B
All right,
process. Yeah.
got.
Now, yeah, so how do you now connect that to developing like a revenue focused marketing strategy?
Okay,
That's
got it.
really, yeah.
So when you know who your stakeholders are, for
Mhm.
example, like we said before, the IT manager, marketing manager, finance, HR, whoever it is, you can then create content or assets or marketing materials that speak to those people. For example, if your ICP is the HR person, you can create content that speaks to them about how this product makes their work easier, how it saves them time, money, whatever headache that your product solves for that person. And then
Mhm.
for the IT person, you can also create content or ads or messaging that speaks to how their product helps with their own involvement. So seamless integration, that's for the IT person. The HR person doesn't care about how fast or seamless the integration is as much as how much it helps them do their work. But for the IT person, they don't want another headache in implementing a platform that's not theirs when they have their own full-time work to do, right? So when you're creating content, and it's about the stage of the funnel where you're marketing at. If it's awareness, you're creating this messaging across different platforms for these different people, and you're targeting them. So, for example, on LinkedIn, if I'm selling an HR product, if I target HR managers, people director, people partner, roles that are in that function, I can use a specific messaging for them. And then if
Mhm.
I'm targeting IT managers, head of IT, CIO, those type of roles, I can use a different messaging for them, but it's the same product. The goal is that when that conversation is being had in the business about this product, everybody that's a stakeholder has seen the messaging that's relevant to them, and it's easier for that conversation to flow through. It's also easier for when they're having a conversation with the sales team to say, "Oh, I've seen this before, and this is how I think it'll be easy for us to use it." There's that top of the mind recall. There's that brand awareness. That it's easy for the salespeople to have that conversation with the team, or for them to even decide internally because you've touched them, all of the stakeholders at the place where it's valuable to them with your messaging. And this can be across like your ads on the different platforms, your content that's targeted at those people when they're in market for research, your keywords for your search ads, um, your white papers, your ebooks, all of those things. So that's how you use those leads and the ICPs together.
Oh, great. Fantastic. At this point, I want to know if there is anyone in the audience that may have any
Yeah, I think
question.
there's
You
a
can
question that
drop
dropped
it in.
in the chat.
All right.
There's a question I saw that dropped in the chat. Let me see if I can
All
find
right.
it.
So, yeah, I saw it. So, Ima Bibio is asking, and how do I get access to the top decision makers?
How
I
do
think
you
that's the
get
question.
access?
To the top
So,
decision.
I
Mhm.
mean, there are different ways. So, easy way, you know the company you're targeting. If they're on LinkedIn, you know the subject role. You can run ads to target them. That's one way. There are also tools that help with like getting you the right leads. For example, Apollo, there's Lemlist. There are a
Yeah.
couple of tools that can help you find the contact of those people when you identify them in the companies that you want, and you can then use that to reach out to them, phone numbers, emails, all of that. So there are tools that help you do that. There are software that can help you get contact once you know what you're looking for. It's not so hard to find them afterwards.
All right. Thanks. And so yeah, so that leads me, earlier on we were talking about B2B marketing. Yeah, it's easier when you're trying to capture a customer directly. That's B2C. I know that the process, for B2B, the should I say the conversion, the time it takes to convert, or the buying cycle can be between 2 months to over like 6 months and all of that. Um, how So the question now I'm asking, and really help me out, how can B2B companies now or businesses design their revenue or the metrics that they're using, tracking revenue, considering the type of cycle that is usually that is usually involved in a B2B scenario?
So yeah, so it will depend on what stage that business is.
Hmm.
Um, if I'm just starting out, I'm a B2B company. We just launched last month or a few months ago. What we will be focusing on or we'll be trying to do will be different from a company that has been in the market for a long time. People are aware of them, like an Adobe or a HubSpot or MailChimp. It'll be different. Um, but the most important things that, and this applies both to B2B and B2C, that needs to happen is awareness. People need to be aware of your product, no matter if you're selling to a business or an individual. They need to be aware of the product before they can even consider it. So you need to, as a business, first give time, put some effort in creating your brand awareness. This can be in form of ads, partnerships, brand mentions. However, you can get your target market aware of your product, either as a B2B or as a B2B company. It's very important. It makes your work easier in the long term. So you're investing for the future, essentially, when you create those awareness campaigns. There's this notion that's been happening sometime recently where people are driving for performance marketing. They want to get conversions. They want to get all of these things. It's brilliant, but the truth is, if someone doesn't know your brand, it's a lot more difficult to get them to convert. I would not see a brand today and then buy from them today. It's very rare. There needs to be different multiple interactions before that will happen. And it's so interesting that big brands that we already know still spend a lot of money advertising, getting people to be aware of them. An example is HubSpot. HubSpot is I've known HubSpot since I was maybe 10 years ago when I just started marketing. And till now, HubSpot still runs ads. The other day I was on the train and I saw an outdoor ad of HubSpot in the train station. I don't know if they need to do that. Everybody knows HubSpot, right? But again, there's value in awareness. So you need to be aware. It takes time for it to convert. Take yourself as a business, for example. Before you onboard a new product, you need to evaluate it. You need to see that the cost of this product is worth whatever resources they are providing to you. You need to check alternatives. You need to do your research, compare different products. So all of those things will take time. So businesses need to factor that in their processes. So time for awareness, time for people to try out the product and evaluate it amongst competitors, time for them to, if they do see value and it fits within their budget, to then convert. So that process, you can't skip it. You can barely even shorten it. So it's just the business or the leadership team being aware and factoring this in their projections so that they know that in the first couple of months we're investing to get returns in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, depending on how complex the product is, who the customers are, how much it costs, how long the average contract time is. All of those things will determine how long it will take for conversions to happen.
Yeah, that's really insightful, and it has me thinking. I don't know if any, because I know I've worked in a sales role. I know it's got me thinking that, and I don't know if it's the same experience with a couple of our guests here. Um, like, I feel that, with all of this said, there are, or it does seem like companies set this unrealistic expectation as to um, how soon or how quick they want to drive revenue without looking into what their products or how well their products, can penetrate into the market and how well it has generated that level of awareness for the end users or the people they are targeting. Um, should I how would you address this in such a situation if
So
if you're working in such an yeah.
it's something that happens and will continue to happen. And I think it's human. So if I were a founder, I know that it will take X amount of time for this business to generate a conversion, this marketing effort. I'm aware, I know it. But at the same time, I want it to be faster because I need to deliver to my investors. I need to start to see traction. It's human. So I think that it's the job of marketers to keep reminding or keep having that conversation of these things. The founders, I believe that they know. Um, it's hard for them to admit it, but it's us marketers that need to keep reminding them and keep having these conversations of presenting how long this thing will take and showing the results. For example, when you're about to start your campaign, you need to agree with the management team that for this awareness campaign, this is how long it would go for. These are the metrics that you want to track for that particular campaign type. And this is when you expect to see some type of result and also clearly state what those results will be. For awareness, it will be we're running an awareness campaign for 3 months. The result that we're expected to see will be increased organic search, for example, increased direct traffic, more recognition when our sales team speak to people in businesses that we're trying to sell. They can easily say, I've heard of or seen you before. But you need to have that conversation, agree with them, and keep reminding them in every way possible that this is the goal for this particular campaign. And when you run performance campaigns as well, you need to demonstrate the same value. So when you're saying you're bringing leads that will convert, you need to demonstrate that you're very efficient with your budget. You're bringing in the right people. You're improving the campaign based on the conversion that you've seen before, and you can show them like ROI in the immediate effect in terms of leads that you're generating. If it's self-serve, how much conversions you're getting from those channels. Like it has to be an ongoing conversation, but the expectations from leadership team or founders, I don't think it will change. It's just human for you to want something more urgently, even though you know that it will take longer.
Even in the face of reality, yeah.
Yeah, it is what this is.
Yeah. All right. Ty has a question. Go ahead. You can unmute and ask your question.
Thanks a lot, Uche. I've just seen that Toby has slides up, so I'm suspecting that he has something that he was going to speak to. So if that's correct, Toby, maybe we can give you a few minutes to walk us through the slides.
Yeah, I'll pick certain slides in a few minutes. I saw some questions that came in on the chat and it look interesting. So let's quickly go into that, then I'll go into
All
the slides. There's this one from Bolaji and Koshe. It says, how can a B2B company accurately measure marketing attribution in the context of a long sales cycle? Very good question, especially the marketer, where multiple touch points across various channels influence purchasing decisions. It's a very long question. And how should they assign appropriate value to each stage of this person, the scientist person to me, each stage of the buyer's journey to inform future budget allocation? Bro, I don't know who you are. I don't know what I did to you, but nice one. All right, so it's a very good question. And attribution it's something that I don't think that there's a perfect answer to attribution yet, especially for B2B. And the reason is, I'll give an example. If I want to onboard a new, I don't want to use HR software again. Let me see. I'm trying to think of a software. And can somebody give us a B2B software type that I can use as an example?
Let's try finance.
Yes, so a finance management software that helps the business track where they're spending, who's spending what. That's what we're trying to do. So as a marketer, you've run your ads across different platforms. You've done search, LinkedIn, all of those platforms. Things are looking good on that side. And then you're getting conversions. So maybe your sales team are getting more inbound leads. You have more people in the trial, but it's not directly tying in. So for example, we spent X amount on LinkedIn and we've only got 10 conversions from LinkedIn that can be tracked. With attribution, the problem is that somebody might have seen your LinkedIn ad, took a screenshot, sent it on Slack to the management team. They've deliberated on that. Somebody then goes to your website to sign up. And you would say that's direct traffic that converted that person. Meanwhile, it was your LinkedIn ad that somebody took a screenshot of and then converted. So you can't directly attribute that. So there will always be gaps in attribution. That's what I'm trying to say. But there are tools that help you as much as possible find all of these touch points and bring them together. An example on the B2B side is Dream Data. Dream Data allows you to connect all of your ad platforms. LinkedIn, Google, Meta, Capterra, G2, wherever you're marketing on, connect them in the same place. When people interact with your even organic posts, ads, maybe they view the content that you created. When they interact with those things, it creates like a journey where people can see on the 1st of October, this person with this job title read this article on your blog, but they had first of all clicked an ad a week before. And then 4 weeks after, somebody else with a different job title in the same company started a trial. So those tools can give you like end-to-end view of the places that are measurable in one place, where you can then say, for company X, how many people came into our system or interacted with our ad assets, and what are their job titles? How long was the gap between those interactions? How long did it take for that deal to close? So that's you can start to get insights if there's a pattern. So if people read a certain article first, and these people are like HR managers or IT directors, you can start to create a pattern or understand how your users interact with your assets to become paying customers. That's one. So using tools that brings everything together is one very useful way. The other one is assigning value at the different stages. So there are different ways for attribution right now. So there is the U-shaped first and last touch. There's the equal one. There's no best way to attribute conversions right now. What I would recommend is look at what works in your own business and stick with that. Because for some people, when they share the value equally across all of the touch points, it works for them because they can then assign budget according to that, and they start to see what conversions those individual channels get, or if it's what brought this person in the first place and what they interact with and made them convert. There is no best method in my own months or years of doing this. It is more of looking at your own business and looking at what value those platforms bring to you. I'll give an example. We do Capterra ads in my company. Capterra is a platform where people go to search for software and compare them. So if I'm looking to buy Hotjar or HubSpot or MailChimp, I can see different alternatives. I can see what people have done, reviews, all of those things. But they allow you to run ads. So what happens is people go in there, search for alternatives, come on our platform, and then some become paying customers. But the truth is, the value that we get from that platform is more than the leads that we get. So some people will see the ads, do their comparison, they don't click any ads on the platform. They then go directly to sign up and try the product and even buy. But because they didn't click an ad, you say our conversion rate or our CAC on this platform is poor. Or because they've done search before they did Capterra, we then say because we're not doing equal attribution, we're not going to give value to it. It can get very confusing if you go that route. I would suggest that you look at all of the channels equally. That's my own preference now. Look at what value that they can bring in. Know that some platforms will give you indirect conversions, some will give you direct conversions. Factor that human element in it and decide what is best for you in terms of your budget. That's how I would answer that question.
Fantastic. All right. So yeah, Toby, would you like to share some? You would like to go ahead and share your slide? You said there are
Um,
some things you want to, dive deep into and talk about.
yeah. So I'll just talk about the different stages of B2B marketing. And it's pretty similar to B2C as well. Let me see if I can share my screen. 1 second. And this is because it's supposed to be fundamentals of marketing. Bolaji that asked that question, that's not a fundamental of marketing question.
What do we call it then?
That was an advanced question. Okay. But happy to have, I mean, that was a good one. I liked it.
All right.
All right. So with marketing, and not just B2B, B2C as well, there's different stages and there are different metrics that you should be looking out for when you run those campaigns. I'm assuming that, let me see if I can make this slide. Okay, perfect, I think. So with every business, like I mentioned before, your first point of call is awareness. And I'm going to say this because we have a lot of salespeople on this call. Awareness campaigns are very, very important. It makes buying easier. There's a reason why Apple will still run ads, even though they have everybody in their pocket or their loyalists in their pocket. Android fans, I'm sorry, but even though they have all of that clout and all of that, they still run ads. I still see Apple ads like regularly because humans, I mean, even more today, it's a distracting world we're living in. You see tons of ads every day, tons of things trying to get your attention. So why do you think that you are so important that you don't need to get people aware of your product, especially if you're new or you're small, you're upcoming? Awareness is very important. So the goal is to make your target audience know about your product. And if you're a new marketer or you're just starting to try out B2B marketing, for awareness, you want to use the same channels you already know. So your Facebook, your Instagram, because the people you're marketing to at the end of the day, they are humans. They are businesses, but they're humans that are in those roles that you're trying to target. So there's a place for awareness on those platforms. LinkedIn, the obvious choice. There's search ads. So running ads on your brand keyword on the category where you're in or on the service that you provide. Very important. People need to know about you before they can try you out. So there's also other platforms like Reddit, Quora. This may not be relevant in some markets, but in markets where I'm at, people go on this platform to ask other people how what they think about these tools. If you're present there, it's easy for people to know about you and try and find out about you and know you. So that's awareness. Your goal is impressions, reach, views, whatever those in quote vanity metrics are. But it's get people to know about your product and also traffic. So they're coming to your website to see what you offer, read your ebooks, whatever it is, just awareness. Then there's acquisition. So these are campaigns that you're running to get people into your ecosystem. So it can be a webinar. So for the webinar, people are signing up, you're collecting their emails, so you have those leads that you can then not just to become customers. Or you're running a lead magnet campaign. So you're running a campaign that gives them something in exchange for their contact. Or you're running a campaign that just asks them to come and try out the product. So again, you're just trying to get people into your ecosystem, people that are in your ICP. So everything we're talking about here, it starts with your ideal customer profile. So you need to know who you're targeting, have the right messaging for them, the right creative for them, the right asset formats to get them in. That's like base level. If you don't know that, you're going to be burning money. So if you're running an ad targeting, your product is shipping software. So people that have shipping lines, your software helps them manage or track their ships. If you're running that ad and somebody that is an undergraduate in University of Lagos is seeing that ad, you're wasting your money. There's almost no way that you're going to get any value from that kind of interaction. So your ICP and you're targeting properly. So activation, acquisition, spoken about that. Then activation. So end of the day, you want people to try out your product if you have that offering. So trials or demos, get on the call with somebody, try out the products. These people have people that go ahead to try your product. There's more value to them, so there's more interest. There's more. You should be willing to invest more to get people in. And then during that time, you also want to improve your experience. So have the best demo experience for people, have the best trials, always improve that so that people can see the value almost immediately in the first few minutes or few days of trying out the product. And then from there, you can start to track conversions. The way that it will typically work is a lot of people will see your ads maybe multiple times. They won't take action. I can't count how many ads I've seen today. I haven't gone to their website, but I've seen them. I'm aware of some of them. If I see them tomorrow and I happen to be in the market for that product, maybe I'll take action. But that's going to happen. So a lot of people will see your ads. Few of them will become leads. Of those few, some of them will try or book a demo with your product. So your numbers start to reduce based on that. And these are the leads these are the contacts that you then pass on to the sales team after you've qualified them. There's a part of like lead scoring to identify people that are valuable that you want to pass on to your sales team for them to follow. I'm going to speak in like along the sales line because again we have a lot of sales people on in this session.
And besides that, it really affects the sales guys, I guess. So
yep, absolutely does. So the quality of the leads that you give the sales guys very important. And one of the ways that you can improve quality of leads is speaking to your salespeople. As a marketer, most times we are behind the scenes. We are imagining things. We are assuming. We are creating stuff that are creative. But the sales guys are the ones speaking to these customers. They're the ones that are having those exploratory calls to understand the pain points. They're the ones that know who the buying decision, the stakeholders will be. They're the ones that are knowing what the questions they're asking is, what the problems those people have is. When you speak to them, you can get a lot of insights that you can use to improve your own ads as a marketer. So you can improve your messaging, improve your targeting, improve your creatives as well. You can get a lot of insights speaking to your sales team to improve the leads that are passing on to them. And then when they become paying customers, you can start to talk of revenue. So people have converted. You can then drive more revenue from them by engaging them, by helping them see more to help them see value in the product. And then there's retention and referral. So these are like fundamentals of B2B marketing in quotes. Same thing applies to B2C, but businesses usually don't pay attention to all of these stages of the funnel as much as they should. It's mostly about acquisition, activation. Where are the leads? How many have you converted today? It's always about that. Meanwhile, your awareness is suffering, not putting a lot of investment in awareness. People don't even know you. The work for the sales team is tougher because they are on this call now with this person that hasn't, maybe only one person in that call has heard about the product. All of other people haven't heard about it. It's tougher to sell. So when you invest a lot more in the other stage of the funnel, it's an easier sell if your product is good, of course. So that's one thing I wanted to focus on in terms of fundamentals of B2B marketing, which was one of the things that the main part of this conversation today.
Yeah, before you proceed though, we have a couple of questions still on the chat, and one is from Joy, and it takes us back to what we were talking about earlier. And the question is, you are marketing a SaaS solution to a mid-sized company. Who would you approach first? A head of IT, CFO, marketing director, and why?
So what am I selling? Joy, what am I selling? If you tell me what I'm selling, then I can answer the question a bit better. Because it will depend. If I'm selling this payments software, if I'm approaching marketing director, it's going to be one way I'm talking to him. Like it's not his business how the company pays for this thing. So what am I selling? That's the first thing. Who is my user? Who is my ideal customer profile? Once I know what that is, then the answer will be a lot more straightforward in this case. So you need to know who you're selling.
We'll just leave that to the audience and let's see. Let's just leave that to the audience for now. All right. So yeah, this is another question too. It's from Dorothy, and it says, for a marketing executive in a medical laboratory, what's the best marketing strategy to getting leads that convert ASAP?
Leads that convert ASAP.
And so it brings us back to that whole conversation about the point where there's so much pressure on the sales guys to actually deliver, and then of course marketing having an ongoing conversations with founders or CEOs and all of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So a medical laboratory, who are you selling to? I need to, so I mean that when you say medical laboratory, there are two sides I can think of. you want people to come and take tests in the lab, or you are selling equipment to other labs. It's not very clear. So if you clarify that, I can answer. But I'll try in both cases. If you're a lab that is selling B2C, it's the end users. So the best marketing strategy is to speak to the pain points of your end user. So what do you offer that is unique? Do you allow people book tests from the comfort of their home and you come in and do the test for them? Or can they pre-book and walk in and it's faster? Your results are more accurate. Like, what exactly is your unique selling proposition? That is a pain point for the end user. So, okay, so it's B2C. So first is to understand what is valuable to your customer. Like, what do they want from a lab that you offer? Like, what is unique to you that other people don't do? That is then valuable to the customer. So everybody does tests in the lab, but what makes you different? And is that valuable enough for that end user? Once you find that, it is then looking for where these people are. Your end users are people that take tests, so they're going to be within a certain age range, maybe from 18 to 65 or 70. If you have a sweet spot, like people that are very ideal to you, if you give me that age range based on your maybe historical data or your market research, you can then find out where these people are. If they're a bit older, maybe Facebook is your best bet. You want to use messaging that is appealing to them, that communicates the value that you offer to them, that answers their headache, that solves their headache. So the channels will depend on who you're targeting, their age range, their behaviors. But one of the cheapest ways, if they are in that older demographic, is Facebook. Is one of the cheapest ways to get people in. You can offer free sessions, for example. You can offer a session where you talk about the different tests that you offer. There are different strategies that you can try. Your goal is to give value to these people, solving their pain points to get them into your own ecosystem.
All right.
Yeah, I think because Dorothy is on the call, she can answer those questions that you were asking, just so that you can give a tailored response. Dorothy, do you
Yeah.
want to unmute yourself?
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So we are looking at the people we are targeting are actually doctors. We are looking at hospitals, pharmacies, schools, because students too, there is need for them to have a health check. So those are the people we are targeting. Age regardless. Everyone is involved, individuals as well. So those are the people we are targeting. So I'm actually looking at the best strategy, to convert these people for them to, appreciate the test we carry out, since we are ISO certified. You know, looking at the best strategy to apply to make these people come patronize us, since we have so many labs out there. So the best strategy that can drive sales ASAP.
Right. So from what you said now, your customers are in different buckets. For example, students. The reason why students will take tests is different from the reason why doctors will refer people to your lab. You want to segment your customers into different buckets. That way, you're using messaging that again appeals to them. The messaging that you would show to an 18-year-old student to come and take a test in your lab is different from what you show to my grandmother to take a test in your lab. And where you find those two people are different as well. With the students, you're going to find them on TikTok. You find them on Instagram. You find them on Snapchat. The messaging that you're going to use to attract them, it has to be something that is relevant to them, that is a pain point. A student is probably looking for maybe.
Dorothy, I think you should mute. Thank you.
So you want to know why should the student, like what kind of test will the student take, and then speak to them based on that. For a doctor or a pharmacist, or you mentioned other roles, speak to their pain points. Find out where you can find them. Like, do your research. Where do these people? Where can I find these kind of people? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it? And then use that messaging to appeal to them. And then so it's more in the targeting, in your messaging on the platform. Once you have the right messaging, targeting the right people, then it should be easier from there onwards.
Yeah. Dorothy, I hope that answers your question. Tobi, so it brings me to this. Let's say in the case of Dorothy, let's say the company is deciding to use a B2B approach, because this sounds more like you're dealing directly with the the customers. How would you use the fundamentals which you've shared here to help Dorothy, for instance, drive that level of growth, or should I say, help them achieve what their company is looking to achieve? So let's say she's been tasked to use a B2B direction in this case.
Right. So it's first of all identifying who you're selling to. It always goes back to the ICP.
Yeah.
If you're a lab selling to another business, who in that business is your ideal customer profile? Who is that person that's going to use your product? And who are the other people that are involved in making the decision to use your product? That's always where it starts from. Once you identify that, you can then target them with the right messaging. For example, if you're selling to schools, you want to be the official lab, as an example. It is identifying whose business is it to have a lab partner with a school. Like, whose business is it in that school? Is it the procurement manager? Is it the head of health? If there's such a role, who that person is. Once you find who the ICP is, you can then target them with the right messaging. And then all the other people that are involved, the same thing. So finding out where they are. So if it's a school, you want to maybe go in there, have a conversation with them, run ads if it's, if you have the budget for it. But it's basically finding who, again, the ICP is, where they are, where they are active, what they do, what their lifestyle is, and embedding your product into those spaces. That's how it's easy for them. Not all of your strategy will be online. Not all of everything will be running ads. It might require you like going in there, sharing flyers. If again, that's what works for the market you're in or the environment you're in. But if it is, if you've done your research, the ICP, they're online, they're on Instagram, they're on LinkedIn, you can target them based on their job title. You can run your ads, get them to sign up for a webinar or a lead form, or entice them with something and get them into your ecosystem, and then nurture them to become paying customers. It starts from, again, identifying who your ideal customer profile is. What is their behavior? What do they do? What do they find? What's their pain point? Why should they even consider you as an option at all? Are they aware of your product? And then moving through this funnel that we see on the screen.
All right. Yeah. So, can you take us deeper? Like, share some case studies, or some
Yeah.
other examples that we can, to drive in this points,
Right.
awareness, acquisition. Okay, great.
So I have a case study here. Fictional company is a B2B company. It's called Cloud Tech Solutions. They are a cloud-based enterprise software solutions and project management company. Now, this is the target audience: the marketing directors, the CIOs. We've identified our ICPs. So we went through the different stages of the funnel earlier. Awareness. The goal is to increase brand awareness. So our KPIs will be traffic. How much traffic are we getting from people that are in this industry? How much engagement are we getting? So the more people see your ads, the comments, the shares, all those things, that's awareness. People are getting aware of your product. We're running ads on the different platforms. How much impressions are we getting? How much reach are we getting? How much mentions are we getting in different publications about the market that we're in, about our products? Those are the metrics that we look at for awareness. And then for acquisition, it is how many leads are we getting into our ecosystem? How many people are signing up for different things that we're offering? So ebooks, webinars, events. How much of that are we getting from the different channels that we're using? How much is our cost per lead? What is the conversion rate from visitors to leads? So of the people that visit our website in a certain day, how many of them sign up as leads for different reasons? And then what is the quality of the leads that we're generating? Those are the kind of things that you look at on the acquisition level. After they've come into your ecosystem, you can then qualify them. So how engaged are they? Do they suit your demographic? Do they suit like the demographics that you're targeting? That would then rank them based on importance. People that reach a very high threshold, you can then pass to the sales team as like warm leads that they can speak to and interact with to get them to convert. Then there's the activation. How many of those leads book free trials? How many of them? The goal is to get them to book free trials. So you're either sending them emails, you're inviting them into like further webinars, further sessions that are relevant to them based on maybe their job titles. What's your conversion rate from leads to signups? your activation rates, how much engagement are you getting during the trial, if you do have a free trial. So are they using all of the features? Are they logging in very often? Are they using your platform as much as they should during that trial period? So the kind of things you measure during your activation phase. But your goal is to get people to get into your system, try out your product. That's the goal, or see the value as fast as you can. And then the next stage is revenue. So getting, when they also become paying customers, how much revenue are you getting from them on a monthly basis? What's the average revenue per user? How much did it cost you from acquiring them? So you spend X amount, $1,000 on advertising, and you got X number of paying customers. How much did that cost you? Is that number positive for your business? Are you in a positive place? Like, are you generating profit from that interaction? So that's what you measure at this stage. And then for retention, when they sign up, how long do you keep them for? How engaged are they with your business? So you start to measure like your churn rate of customers that become paying customers. What is your net promoter score? How satisfied are your customers with your product? How long did it take for them to get value from your product? These are the things that will help you retain the customers that you've acquired. And then referrals. Referrals will not be stable. It's not stable for all business types, especially in B2B. But if it is suitable, how many of your customers are referring other people? What's the conversion rate of the referrals to new paying customers? What's the lifetime value they are getting from referred customers, and also from even your actual customers? So these are some of the metrics that you measure in B2B marketing. So from awareness, and these are the things that you speak to your management team about when you're deciding, and when they're telling you where the revenue, where is the sales, where is this and that. These are the things that you use in those conversations. For awareness, when you have awareness, a budget for awareness, these are the metrics you are saying who are measuring the business by. Get their buying, get them to agree to whatever metrics you decide for this stage. For acquisition, how many leads do we want to get in a month? And what are the resources that we need to get these leads? As a marketer, it's then your job to go ahead and do the work that needs to happen. So your optimizations, your creatives, your performance marketing channels, exploring new channels, remarketing, all of the things that you need to do at the different stages will be based on the KPIs that you've agreed with your management team to set. What else do I have? Right. So I also put up a list of lead generation techniques. There's a lot of them. And I know somebody asked, how can I get leads? So these are the different things that you can do. Content marketing, blogs, white papers, ebooks. For the lab, for example, if you have content up for the different customer profile that you have. So for the students, writing content about STIs, about COVID tests, about things that are relevant to them at their own stage. If you have a lot of articles about that, they read that, they get value from it, they can then, when they're aware of you, so they can try out your product or service based on that. Your SEO, you're optimizing your website, you're creating content that is well optimized so that people can start to find you organically when they search for certain keywords. Email marketing. I mentioned Apollo earlier. With Apollo, you can find the target audience you're looking for, the stakeholders in different businesses, and you can send them cold emails to demonstrate your product, or get them to be interested in what you're offering. There's social media marketing. There's pay-per-click advertising, using Google Ads, LinkedIn, Facebook. There are webinars and online events. For example, this session that we're in, organized by Refstar. You can organize the same thing in your own market. For example, with the lab, you can partner with an influencer in that space. There are people that are doctors that help people to live a healthier lifestyle. You can collaborate with them, create sessions where people attend, and you offer value, like how often should you get tested? Why should you get tested on certain things very often? How to know your red blood count, how to know your cholesterol level, those kind of things. You want to have sessions on those and get people into your ecosystem. One, it will drive awareness and it can drive leads for you as well. There's account-based marketing that I mentioned earlier. I think there's a slide that goes into that further on. There are events in the industry. Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
Right. So with account-based marketing, it's a different type of B2B marketing that has been popular in recent years. So with regular B2B marketing, your goal is to acquire leads, get them into your funnel to become paying customers. So it's a bit broad. You're looking at certain industries, certain job titles, just targeting the industry as a whole based on whatever product that you sell. With account-based marketing, you're identifying a specific account that you think is of value. For example, if I work with Resta and I want to partner with Microsoft for whatever reason, Microsoft is an important account. I've identified the key stakeholders in Microsoft that this will be of value to. I'll then work with the sales team to create materials, ads, interactions that target all of the people that are stakeholders in Microsoft. It can be ebooks, blog content, white papers, things that are very relevant to them and specific, like almost customized for them. The goal is to close Microsoft, and I'm working together with the sales team. So we're targeting those accounts. We're prioritizing all our efforts. We're making personalized recommendations for them. So a lot of businesses are going into that right now, where they can put in joint effort between sales and marketing to target accounts as opposed to a broader blanket of industry and job titles. So that's pretty much what that is about. There are platforms that help you run such campaigns right now. So there's events. You can go to events where that is aligned with your own market. For example, a lot of tech companies go to tech about events. They have moonshot, they have different events. So you go there, you find your possible target market, you can engage them, you can have a booth or a stand there, people can come there, capture, you can get their contact information that you can then use to nurture them subsequently. There's cold outreach, email, LinkedIn, there's partnerships and alliances. I spoke about partnerships earlier as well. There are referral programs that you can create for people that are currently in your ecosystem for them to refer people and get some value. So maybe if you refer another business, you get 1 month free. You can design that based on your own business. Influencer marketing, using case studies and testimonials, retargeting campaigns, podcasts and videos. So there are a lot of things that you can try to get more leads for your business if you have the resources and bandwidth for it. There's a question here.
Yeah, from
When
Bukayo.
nurturing leads, how important is personalization and what role does automation play? It's very, very, very nice question. So, um, personal personalization is absolutely important. And one of the ways that you can tell is when you have an email campaign. So I'm assuming that you're nurturing via emails as an example. If you send 2 emails out, one of the emails has, and even you as a user, somebody sends you an email and they say, "Hi there, thank you for our service," or "Hi there, come and buy XYZ," compared to "Hi Bukayo, come and buy XYZ." You already feel different about those two interactions just because your name has been mentioned. How much more if they're not telling you things that are, I mean, peculiar to you? So that mentioning your company name, your job title, they're telling you about maybe if you tried the product before, maybe you joined the webinar. They're saying, "Oh, thank you for joining this webinar. Because of this webinar that you joined, we think that this and so resources will be useful to you." That way, you feel like this person knows you. They know you. They've seen you. You feel a little more affinity to them. So it's super important to be personalized and to send personalized messaging when you're not trying leads. It increases your chances of conversions. And then for automation, so there's only so much humans can do in a day, right? Imagine we have this session now. There are maybe 30 attendees. Imagine that the community manager has to send an email to everyone at the same time. Or imagine all of the reminders that we got before this webinar started. Imagine that we have to send manual emails to everyone at the same time for those emails. There's only so much that we can do when it's time to scale that interaction. But with automation, it means that if somebody gets into your system, for example, all the people that joined this Refstar webinar, I can set an automation that says in 2 working days from now, send all of them the slides. And then in 3 working days from now, send them the link to invite them to the session. And in 4 working days from now, if they haven't opened the first email, send them X, Y, and Z. That automation makes a lot of sense because for the person that attended, is just getting a sequence of communications that keeps him engaged. And for the community manager or the people involved, it's less work for them. Once they build that automation once, it's easy for them to for it to keep going for anybody that gets into the system. Another example is if you do allow free trials for your product. Somebody tries your product now, you can set a sequence of onboarding emails that helps them get value from the product from day one. So if somebody signs up for a trial now, automated, they can get an email within the hour that says, welcome, this is where you find A, B, C, D, E. And in 2 working days, you can send another email. And you can get to the level of, if they've come into your platform, they haven't used X, Y, and Z feature, you can prompt them to use those features. And when they use those features, you can prompt them to use the next one, up until the point where you've shown them the value that they got from the products and you've increased their chances of converting. Same thing with the sales team. If somebody has booked a sales call from with you, automation allows you to send reminders up until that day. When you have that conversation with the person, the demo has been hard, everything has been good, you can set automation to then nurture them subsequently until they become paying customers. So it saves you a lot of time and human resources to get conversions. So it's very important.
Here are a couple of follow-up questions here, and one is from Cynthia. She's asking, what kind of tools can I use for such automation?
Right. So depending on what you're trying to do, if it's email, a lot of email marketing platforms now allow workflows. MailChimp, I think, now does workflow, but I know HubSpot does. I know Brevo does. Most CRM tools allow automations now, so that's easier. I see Bolaji's message question.
Yeah, there's no conversation today you can have without AI not being part of the topic. So Bolaji's asking around that area. He's
That's
saying
some really creative ways you're leveraging AI in your marketing and lead gen workflows right now.
Every conversation is around AI, yeah.
So to be honest, I don't think that I'm doing as much as is possible with AI and lead gen workflows. But things that I know is an example when somebody comes into my system, my ecosystem, maybe they sign for a trial or a demo, and they've signed up with their company name. So Bolaji at google.com or Bolaji at apple.com. I can, with AI, tell this person's industry. I can tell the size of the company. I can tell certain information can be pulled automatically just from that email address. I can possibly even tell their job title or their location or the number of employees or their revenue. I can tell different things. And with that information, I can create a customized journey for them. If, for example, Apple is enterprise and they're in the IT industry, I can then, after whatever interaction that we've had, I can then send them a sequence of communications or nurturing that is for their industry. I can send them use cases of people in IT or telecoms. I can send them things that are specific to them, and the chances of them converting will be higher just because AI allowed me to pull of that. I don't need to go in and do the manual work of researching or finding that information. So that's one way that we're starting to use it. Another way is, depending on your product, you can use it to improve your onboarding journey. When somebody comes into your system, they provide you just their email. So you're reducing the effort that the customer needs to provide and creating with them a more unique experience. They're giving you their email address. You can tailor that onboarding to be suited for them. You can personalize the look and feel of their dashboard to have their company logo, to have all of those things just using AI. You can ask them questions or show them prompts based on their industry or based on things that are relevant to them, just based off that email that they provided. That's some of the ways that I've seen AI being useful right now. There's a ton of things more, but these are the ones that I've experienced, that I've seen work. And what happens is when people, again, get this kind of experience, it's more values. It's easier they feel an affinity. They feel like there's a bond already they're creating because I logged in with my email address and you've already customized my experience. Like I can see my company logo here. I can see things that are relevant to my work role. That is an amazing experience already. So chances that I want to use you compared to other people that I have to fill 1,000 questions to provide that same information. That's already an edge for me as a product owner.
All right. So you have a couple of more to share?
Let me just go through the slide. So we spoke about nurturing already, the different ways that you can nurture people. I don't think that we should dwell too much on this. Yeah, so lead scoring and qualification, this might be interesting. I'll just speak a little bit about it. So somebody has come, for example, in this session that we're in, people have different job titles, different roles, work in different places. If I was selling a product, I can qualify everybody on this call based on um, different criteria. So, for example, if I was selling a B2B SaaS software, if somebody doesn't work in the industry where I cater to, I can give them a negative score in terms of scoring. If they work in if they work in that industry, but I'm only enterprise and they don't work in enterprise, or they do work in enterprise, I can score them higher. If they've interacted with maybe 4 of my blog posts, they've joined this webinar, they've read an ebook, I can allocate points to them. All of these scoring techniques just let the sales team and the business know what accounts are valuable to them, where to put in the effort, so that when I'm passing these leads to sales, it will be people that are most likely going to convert just because of all of these criteria. So there are different ways to like score leads. There's implicit data. This is based on their behaviors, their interests. There's explicit data, and there's negative data. Like I mentioned, if they're not in your industry, they're a different job title, they are that you don't even want the kind of people in your system. You can count them as negative data and use that to rank them in your scoring. So that's how this scoring works. And for marketers, it makes sense for you to score your leads before you pass them on to sales. Otherwise, they're going to be passing sales with lots of leads that will not be relevant to them. And that interaction is not going to boost. So they will not close. They're going to spend time on the call with them. They're just wasting resources in those interactions. But when you've qualified your leads, you can pass on the right people and you can get the right feedback to improve your marketing efforts from the sales team. So that's how we use lead scoring and qualification. We spoke about automation already. So workflows. It allows efficiency, it's scalable, you can measure your results. In your workflows, you can tell how many people are opening one type of email, where people are dropping off. If you send a sequence of 7 emails, you can tell which of the emails people are not opening as much. You can then do your A/B testing experiments on the job on the subject lines. You can look at your workflow and make changes to improve conversions. But again, it just saves you time, creates a better experience for your customers. It's scalable. It's something that every marketer should look into if they don't do already. What else? I was going to talk about landing page. As a marketer, we spoke about this last week. If you were in that session, you don't even like it was covered. All of the things that are here were covered in great detail in last week's session. But you just need to, when you drive leads to your landing page, the landing page needs to be good enough for people to offer you their data, so their email, to send for trial. There are things that you can do on your landing page or recommend so that your marketing efforts are not in vain. That's the summary of that slide. So there's your copy, your CTAs, the technical side of things, running A/B testing, your imagery, the different elements, where you place your USPs, where you place your social proof. For example, with B2B, you will notice that a lot of B2B businesses put the logos of the companies that they cater to there. It's social proof. So if I'm a B2B business, I go on HubSpot website or I go on MailChimp website, I can see that Microsoft uses them. It means that they must be good. So I want to also use them. It creates some subconscious feeling. Also, case studies, testimonials, those things help to increase conversions. If I can see a case study of something in my industry, it means that people in my industry use them. If I see how they've used them, it means that it might be used for me as well. Then I might likely convert based on that.
Yeah, before you go
Yeah.
ahead though, I was going to say that for a couple of us who were not here last week, Femi, delved deep into this topic on conversion rate optimization. The recordings are available in the community, and if you're yet to join the community, please sign up, and that way you have access to the recording to go through that session, the first session. They'll just have a deep understanding on conversion rates optimization. All right. So I just wanted to share that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So there's also the side of making data. So as marketers, data is very, very, very important. And it starts from tracking all of your marketing efforts. It starts from tracking your conversions, implementing the right pixels. You need to be very conscious of it. So when you're using different platforms and you have those metrics that we spoke about earlier, so awareness, acquisition, activation, you have those metrics. You're looking at channels. Are they giving you how much, as much KPIs as you expected? And of those numbers, how many of them translate into your bottom line? When I first started as a marketer, it was more of how much traffic are we getting, how much sales are we getting from those campaigns, how much revenue. It was even hard to tie those things together. But now, I found how important it is to delve deep into these things. So you're looking at for example, your GA4. You're looking at your traffic. You see a spike or a decline, and then you're looking at that spike and looking at your conversion numbers. Did you get more trials that day? Did you get more signups, or did you get a decline or change? What happened? You're looking at data of customers. Is there a trend in your conversions? For example, if in a week you got 100 trials, people sign up for trials in that week. Of those 100, 10 of them become paying customers, the remaining 90 don't. Is there a trend of pattern between the 10 and the 90? Are the 10 of them doing something that the 90 are not doing? Can you replicate that behavior that the 10 had among the rest of the people? You have to be willing to look into data metrics to get insights, to improve your product itself, to improve your marketing, to improve. So you have to be very comfortable with data as a marketer. That's like ultimately, you have to, like, calculating your ROI, your CAC, your lifetime value. Because end of the day, as a marketer, you're in a revenue role. You need to be able to tell how much your marketing budget is influencing revenue, either direct revenue as marketing or the one that you've influenced through sales. You have to understand numbers. You have to be willing to get deep into your spreadsheets, download your numbers, analyze, look for trends, look for patterns, ask questions, work with your data team to collect the right metrics, the right numbers. So data is very key as a marketer. It would improve your marketing activities. You make it more valuable, essentially.
Yes. So before you proceed, Bukayo has a question in the chat. She's asking, what are some, when you're talking about, so she's asking, what are some common mistakes you have seen businesses make with their landing page, and how can they optimize for a better conversion or for better
Right.
conversions? Yeah.
So one mistake that I've seen is putting too much information. So because we want to demonstrate value, there's the tendency to write so much text in your mind, or use technical jargon in some cases. In your mind, as someone in the business or the marketer or someone in that space, it might make sense to you because you've read a paragraph that talks about how your payment product is the best in the world, how you helped ton of companies. But for the customer or someone that's visiting for the first time, they don't have that much time to read all of that thing you wrote. You want to make it as simple and straight to the point as possible, and avoid like in-house lingua. For example, maybe you call your products. So there's some terminology that you use in-house that you would then use on your website in assumption that customers understand them. It's the problem I've seen happen a lot. So much text, so much information, not delivering value in the most clear and simple way possible. That's one thing I've seen. Also, not displaying why people should use you as early as possible. When somebody lands on your website, they need to understand what you offer and why they should use you, as like in the most simple terms, as quick as possible. And some of the ways that you can look at this data is using some of these tools that we have. So we have the right screen here. When you have your landing page and you use a tool like Hotjar, there's a free version of Hotjar. You can tell how much of your users scroll to the bottom of your page. If only half of your customers scroll past the first section, there are two things. You either want to improve that experience, or you want to put that most valuable information to the top of the page, so that whoever comes can get something valuable before they leave, if they're not going to scroll further. But it's basically looking at the data of your website, looking at user behavior, and making changes based on that. Also, I don't think that businesses do as much A/B testing on their homepage as they should. Um, we spoke about this in the last session as well. Making a very small change, such as example I gave, when we're running free trials, we don't ask people to provide their card details, so you can start the trial without your card details. But just adding that text to where the CTA is improved our conversion rate by, significantly. But we didn't know that until we did an A/B test campaign, A/B test experiment to see that. So one is looking at data of your website. Put your website into Hotjar or Microsoft Clarity and see how people are using it, how people are, where they're dropping off from, where they're scrolling to, what they're clicking. With that, you can start to ask questions. Why are people not clicking this? Why are people clicking this more than before? And when you look at that, you can start to experiment things and try things out. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, before you go on though, Bukayo, I dropped a link to the platform that Toby just shared, Hotjar, so you can explore. And of course, the one for Apollo, because I know you referenced Apollo quite a few times, during this conversation. So yeah, fantastic. So yes, tell us a bit about this.
Right. So with all of the things that we do in marketing, measuring and analyzing that is very, very important. So these are some of the ways that you can measure your website data. With quantitative data is like numbers, how many visitors, how many views, your bounce rate, how many new visitors, how many returning visitors. You can see all of that in Google Analytics as GA4 or Mixpanel. As a marketer, again, this is fundamentals of B2B marketing. So you should be familiar with these platforms. You should know where to find your sources of traffic, your medium, how much traffic you're getting, how much views, the bounce rate for the different pages. You should be able to know where to find those things or get familiar with it. For quantitative data, which is user behavior, things that are not numbers. So what did they click? Where did they go? How long did they spend on a certain site? Did they click an element that wasn't working? Did they try to do something that they had to go back? Just things that are behavioral, not numbers. You can use Hotjar, VWO, or Microsoft Clarity to see that. It will give you like a heat map of where people are interacting with your website. And with that, you can start to ask questions or make changes or try out things to improve conversions. And then for email campaigns, your open rates, your click-through rates, your delivery, how much of your emails are delivering to the customers, you can get that from MailChimp, HubSpot, Brevo. So, and these are like CRMs. We spoke about automation. So when you have these platforms, you can send email campaigns to nurture your leads. You can tell who is opening words, what time of the day are your campaigns delivering getting the most interactions of the people that are interacting with your emails. How many of them are becoming paying customers? You can get a lot of data from these platforms that you can use to improve your marketing efforts. For conversions, your conversions into leads, trials, demos. Again, your CRM will be the place to go. HubSpot, Salesforce, Zoho. You can get data from how many people in your system started the trial. You can also get product insight from tools like Mixpanel or Intercom. So you can tell how many people are using what features in your product in there. Therefore, end-to-end marketing attribution, like we spoke about, I think was Bolaji's question. There's Dream Data, there's Honeystack. These tools bring together all your B2B marketing platforms. And then you can see your conversion rates, your return on ad spend, your what platforms are people engaging with. You can even integrate like your Salesforce to see how much outbound calls is leading to revenue, how much inbound, how much organic content, how much. A lot of data can be pulled into those platforms to see what is working and what is not, and to make improvements. And this is just a general calculation for ROI. You need to understand how to calculate ROI for your different platforms. What else do we have on here? Account-based marketing, we spoke about that earlier. Sales and marketing work together to target key opportunities. Spoke about that in depth previously. We spoke about AI as well. It was a question from Bukayo, I believe. No, Bolaji. And then I'm going into details. These are the things that you can do. So segmenting and targeting, creating dynamic content. So yeah, one example is there's a tool that I found where if you are coming to the website from a certain industry, it can show you different landing page. So your website is register community, right? I work in Microsoft. Uche works at Toyota. The landing page that Uche will see will be different from the landing page that I will see. It will be tailored to my own industry so that I can get you can get higher conversions from me. That's one of the things that AI can do as well. There's also chatbots and conversational marketing. There's a tool called Drift. A lot of platforms use that for like messaging on the websites. Drift can allow you can nurture a lead within your chat bot up onto your conversion. So somebody comes in, you can ask them a couple of questions to qualify them. You can provide them assets within the chat experience itself. So you can give them ebooks, decks, white papers, things that can give them value, and you can measure that interaction and tie that to how it influences a purchasing decision in the long run. You can also have experiences where somebody comes in on the live chat, they can be redirected to be qualified to book a meeting with the salesperson without having to fill a form. That's a product called Qualified. So there are different tools that AI can help you to improve your marketing activities and improve your customer experience to get higher conversions. That should be the last thing. Yep, that's it.
All right. Thank you so much for this insightful session. This was really insightful for me. At least now I have not saying I never respected the guys in marketing, but deeper respect for the guys in marketing, because it takes quite a lot to actually, help companies achieve what they're trying to achieve in terms of revenue. So yeah, let's moving on to Q&A. Do we have questions? If you have any question, you can unmute just by show of raise of hand, and then you'll mute and then go ahead and ask your question. Anyone?
It seems like I've confused everybody. Nobody asks questions. Everybody just confused.
Okay, me, I have one question. I have a question, and it's just to take us back when you're talking about trying to recall. The question is around lead scoring and qualification. How much role does the sales team play in this as well? Because even if for the guys in marketing, you go ahead, you qualify or you give certain scores to leads depending on what you've actually pulled in. Where do salespeople come in this? Because at the end of the day, they're the guys who may go out there and say, okay, you know what you had assumed in terms of how fast this guy is going to convert isn't what we're actually saying. So can you talk about this a bit more, and how can marketing and sales really work around this because I've been in situations where you have some guys in marketing saying that, no, this is supposed to convert, like you are not doing a good job on your own end. And then the sales guys are, oh, you don't see what we see. We are the ones in the field. What you assumed is not what is actually on ground. So how would you advise, an organization work around this dynamic?
So the first thing that needs to happen is that both marketing and sales need to realize that they are on the same team working towards the same goal. I think once that mindset is established, the rest is a lot easier. As a marketer, I would never assume I know more than somebody's comment. I don't think it will ever end. But I would never assume I know more than someone that is speaking to the customer on the phone. Like where is the audacity coming from? Because what you do on the call, when you speak to them, the things that you learn, the insights that you get, that even the unspoken words that you get, it's deeper insights than my assumption as in creating my own scoring. So what I would do is in building the lead scoring model, it will be a conversation with sales team. As a marketer, I can say that certain pages on the website are high value pages. If somebody visits our pricing page, they should get certain score because there's more interest. they visit the demo page, for example, they should get certain scores. But the sales team can tell the kind of customers that would go ahead to convert, or that can move the needle based on different criteria. So the pain point, their job title, different metrics, and that is usually very, very valuable in building the scoring model. So I think that it should be a joint effort between marketing and sales. And in solving that problem, it's just knowing that we're on the same team. We're all trying to win this customer, right? So as much input as I can get from sales, I'll use that to improve marketing. So an example is when I drive campaigns from Capterra, and I can see in my CRM that Capterra has brought in 20 leads. What I will do is go and speak to the sales team and say, these 20 leads, how have they performed? What did you observe? What did you notice about them? What do you think of them? Like, what is valuable? What do you think I should know? And I'll use that information to improve my own campaign. Where marketing always fights with sales is that I've seen is we've passed you 20 leads, and 1 month after, nobody has reached out to them. So it's like, so what is the point? How do I get insight from this thing? Like, what have you been doing with these people? So that handoff between marketing and sales, passing off leads, is usually where the problem is. But otherwise, there's a lot of insight that can be gotten from speaking to the sales team, speaking to them on what they're experiencing as specific customers, and use that to improve their own campaign.
All right, awesome. Yeah. So do we have more questions? Yeah, go ahead, Eniola. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. Okay, so it's not really a question, but I mean, you mentioned something about a tool that helps show different part of your landing page to different people in different industry. I didn't really get the tool. Can you like come
I
again?
didn't mention the name. I cannot remember the name right now, but I will look for it and I will send it on the community. I'll look for it. I remember because
I'm not here.
You need to go and join.
Join the community. Then you get.
I filled the form, but I didn't see any part that said, "Oh, I've submitted the form or something." I filled it twice.
Marketing have done their job. Now salespeople have not closed this deal. That's not marketing problem now.
Nice one. Nicely put. All right. Any more questions?
But like you said, optimizing is one. I know that they do A/B testing. I didn't even know that they do personalization. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, most of these tools do personalization as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay.
All right. Do you have any more questions? I feel like this was a really insightful session, and we should have a couple of questions that can help us, better in our job role. Maybe you're about to start your own business and you want to bring in a couple of guys in marketing. At least this gives you insight into what to look out for and the kind of questions to ask. Or perhaps you're in sales and you want to do over Sabi. You can engage with the marketing guys and ask questions around this, to be sure that they're doing a fantastic job on their end to help you meet your own revenue goal or your targets. Questions? All right, Tobi, I think you delivered a fantastic session here. And yeah, this has really been insightful. And yes, the slides for this session will be shared, but in the community. So if you haven't joined Revstar, what are you waiting for? Join the community. Typically, for sessions like this or for a conversation like this, you would have to pay some amount, in any of the certification or learning platform. And, at this point, we're getting it free of charge. So it tells you how amazing we are here, in providing value consistently. So you're not just part of a community where we just drive trends in terms of having fun conversations or talking about what's out there, but really helping and empowering every member of the community, to develop or acquire a certain skill in one area of revenue or the other, right? So yeah, the links are already on the chat session. So yeah, you can look up the link there. Next week, Saturday, will also be another exciting session. And we'll be having that with Sean, where he'll be talking on managing churn and retention in marketing. For me, not to say that Femi and Toby's session hasn't been really exciting, but this one in particular, it's closer to my heart because I know I have done more of retention. I've worked in a team like that, more customer success. And so it's something I'm looking forward to. So next week, Saturday, same time by 4 p.m., join us and let's really learn about what what it takes to manage churn and retention, and seeing it from the perspective of marketing, and how to keep our customers or how to keep your customers engaged and make them come back for more. It's something that would empower your account management team in your company, or if you're looking to transition from sales to a account management role, maybe retention or customer success role, this actually will empower you with the skill or the knowledge that you need, to take that next step in your career. So yes, it has been a fantastic session, and you can follow Toby. Where can we follow you? I know you're on LinkedIn. I will
I'm
drop
on
the
Twitter.
link.
Tobi Banjoko Twitter as well. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna drop. I just have your link to your LinkedIn page. So I'm gonna put it here
Okay.
on the chat. So please, you can follow Toby on LinkedIn. Just give me a sec while I drop it here. All right. And you say you're on Twitter. Can you
Yeah,
give us?
it's B2B Banjoko on Twitter. But I don't
B2B?
think I post anything marketing, but we'll see.
But me, does they follow you? Sorry. Oh, yeah. For
Yeah,
us to
that's it.
follow
Yeah.
you there. Yeah. So okay, awesome. So yeah. All right. So yeah, we've come to the end of today's session. Of course, the recording. Tayo says he knows your address. But for those who think, well, you have to book a flight ticket though first. All right. Yeah. So thank you so much for this session, Toby. It's been a fantastic one, and thank you everyone for joining in, asking your questions, and sharing your own experience. Dorothy, I hope you've gotten some ideas that you can start implementing for your own organization. And I am assuming, I know I shouldn't be, that you're actually the young marketing executive that has been called to take on that task for the medical laboratory that you were talking about. But yeah, I believe that with some of these, fantastic insights that Toby have shared, you can start implementing right away to help drive growth for your organization. So yeah, it's been a pleasure hosting everyone here, and here at RevStyle, like I said, it's always an environment for continuous learning, growth, and building meaningful connections. So until next week, I'm looking forward to having everyone here as well. We're looking forward to another insightful interaction with you. Until then, I say bye bye and good night. Cheers.
Thank you, Uche. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank
Yeah,
you.
bye.
All right.